Emily was at her desk when a knock sounded at the study door. Oliver stepped inside, glancing around the familiar room with an odd, appraising look. "Mind if I come in?" he asked, though had already crossed the threshold. She nodded without looking up from her screen. The house had been left to her by her late Aunt Margaret 5 years ago, spacious, bright, with 3 bedrooms. Emily had turned one into her perfect, workspacious sanctuary of order and quiet. "Listen," her husband began, perching on the edge of the sofa. "Mum and Dad are going on again about how exhausting London is." Emily finally turned to him. After a decade of marriage, she knew his tones well. There was something hesitant in his voice now. "Mum says she can't sleep for the noise," Oliver continued. "And Dad's fed up with the commute. Plus, the rent's gone up again." "I see," she replied curtly, turning back to her work. But the mentions of his parents didn't stop. Every evening, Oliver found a new reason to bring them up. One night, it was the pollution giving his mother headaches. The next, it was their upstairs neighbors blasting music. Then the lift in their building breaking down. "They just want some peace, you know," he said over dinner one evening. "A proper home, somewhere quiet." Emily chewed slowly, thoughtful. Oliver had never been one for long conversations. This sudden preoccupation with his parents' troubles fell off. "What are you suggesting?" she asked carefully. "Nothing really," he shrugged. "Just thinking about them." A week later, Emily noticed Oliver lingering in her study more often than usual. At first, it was under the pretense of looking for paperwork, then for no reason at all. Head paused by the wall, eyeing the space as if measuring it. "Nice room," he remarked one evening. "Plenty of light." Emily glanced up from her papers. There was something evaluating in his tone. "Yes, I like it here," she said. "You know," Oliver mused, walking to the window, "you could always set up a desk in the bedroom. It worked just as well." Something tightened in her chest. Emily set her pen down and studied her husband. "Why would I move? This works fine. Just a thought," he mumbled. But the idea stuck. Emily began noticing how Oliver's gaze swept over the study, mentally rearranging furniture. How he lingered in the doorway, as if already imagining something else in its place. "Listen," he said a few days later, "you should probably clear this room out, just in case." The words came like a foregone conclusion. Emily stiffened. "Why would I do that?" she asked, sharper than intended. "No reason," Oliver hedged. "Just thought it'd be handy for guests." But she understood now. All the talk about his parents, all the offhand comments about her study pieces of a plan. A plan made without her. "Oliver," she said slowly, "be straight with me. What's going on?" He turned to the window, avoiding her eyes. The silence stretched. Emily realized something had already been decided. Without her. "Oliver," she repeated firmly. He turned back, his expression caught between guilt and resolve. "Mum and Dad are really struggling in the city," he began cautiously. "They need somewhere quieter." Emily stood. The unease she had ignored for weeks swelled. "And what are you suggesting?" she asked, though she already knew. "We're family," Oliver said, as if that explained everything. "We've got the space." Space. Her study, her refuge, just spare space. Emily clenched her fists. "This isn't spare space," she said tightly. "This is my office. You could work in the bedroom," he shrugged. "My parents have nowhere else to go." The line sounded rehearsed. Emily understood this wasn't the first time Head had this conversation. Just not with her. "Oliver, this is my house," she said coldly. "I never agreed to your parents moving in." "You wouldn't mind, would you?" he countered, irritation creeping in. "We're family, aren't we?" That word again. Family. As if it erased her right to an opinion. Emily walked to the window, steadying herself. "What if I do mind?" she asked, her back to him. "Don't be selfish," Oliver snapped. "They are getting on." Selfish. For wanting to keep her workspace. For expecting to be consulted. Emily turned. "Selfish," she repeated. "For wanting a say in my own home." "Oh, come off it," he scoffed. "It's family duty. We can't just leave them to struggle." Family duty. Another phrase meant to silence her. But Emily wasn't staying quiet anymore. "What about my duty to myself?" she asked. "Stop overreacting," Oliver dismissed. "Just move your computer. It's not a big deal." Not a big deal. Years of making this room, hers dismissed. Emily saw him clearly then, as if for the first time. When did you decide all this? She asked quietly. I haven't decided anything. Oliver backpedaled, just weighing options. You are lying, she said. You've already talked to your parents, haven't you? His silence was answer enough. Emily sat heavily in her chair, the truth settling like a weight. So, you discussed it with everyone but me. Enough, Oliver snapped. What does it matter who I have talked to? What it mattered. Her consent, her home, what it mattered. Emily realized he saw himself as the one in charge, her ownership irrelevant. The next morning, Oliver walked into the kitchen like a man who'd made his decision. Emily waited, coffee in hand, for the inevitable. Look, he began bluntly, Mom and Dad are moving in. Emily looked up. There was no room for debate in his tone. Clear out the study. They will need the room, he added, like an order. For Emily, it was a moment of clarity. She hadn't even been consulted. He hadn't asked, he'd cut her out entirely. Her cup trembled. A cold fury rose as the betrayal sank in. Oliver stood there, waiting, as though she were staff taking instructions. Are you serious? She said slowly. You've just decided for me? I made myself clear yesterday. I don't want this. Don't be dramatic, he waved her off. It's logical. Where else would they go? Emily set the cup down and stood. Her hands shook with anger. Oliver, you've betrayed me, she said plainly. You've put your parents before our marriage. Don't twist it, he muttered. It's family. And what am I? Not family. Her voice turned sharp. You've trampled over my boundaries in my own home. Oliver looked away, unprepared for a pushback. For years, she had gone along with his decisions. But something had broken now. You treat me like an afterthought, Emily continued. You expect me to just swallow this. Stop with the hysterics, he snapped. It's not that serious. Not that serious. Her voice ignored, her space taken not that serious. Emily stepped closer. I am not giving up my study, she stated. And I am not hosting your parents when no one's asked me. How can you be like this? Oliver exploded. They are my parents. And this is my house. Emily shot back. And I won't live with a man who treats me like I don't matter. Oliver stepped back, seeing real fury in her for the first time. Her eyes held a resolve he'd never faced. You don't get it, he fumbled. My parents are relying on us. And you don't get me, Emily cut in. 10 years, and you still don't see I'm not just here to obey. She walked to the counter, gathering herself. Words shed held back for years spilled out. You know what, Oliver, she said, turning. Get out. What? He gaped. You can't be serious. Deadly, she said flatly. I won't live with someone who doesn't respect me. Oliver opened his mouth, but nothing came. He hadn't expected this. This is our home, he tried weakly. Legally, it's mine, Emily reminded him coldly. And I want you gone. He stood stunned, realization dawning that he'd pushed too far. Let's talk this through, he pleaded. Too late, she said. That should have happened before you decided. He tried to argue, but the steel in her eyes stopped him. The compliant wife who'd yielded for years was gone. Pack your things, she said calmly. A week later, Emily sat in.